Hi, everybody. It's Mrs. K from the Macedon Public Library, and I want to share today some book recommendations. These are what I consider scary stories. The first book is part of the Whatever After series. Now, this one isn't necessarily very scary, but it's based on fairy tales, and fairy tales are scary originally. The Brothers Grimm wrote those very, very horrific things. So if you really want to be scared, you read the originals. If you just want to read some scary stories that have been adapted, you might want to go this way. Whatever After involves the little girl Abby, she's 10, and her 7-year-old brother Jonah. And well, let me have her explain it. In this scene, she's riding in the car with her brother and grandmother. And Nana says, I'll read you guys a story or two before bed, if you're still interested in fairy tales, that is. Oh, of course we're interested, Jonah said, raising his eyebrows at me. Very interested, right, Abby? I put my finger to my lips. Shh. Nana glances at us in the rearview mirror, looking a little confused. And okay, Jonah and I are both acting a little weird. Why? Because we actually go into fairy tales, more like fall into them. Seriously, Cinderella, Snow White, Aladdin, The Princess and the Pea, those are just a few of the fairy tales we've visited. See, we have a magic mirror in our basement, and when we knock on it 3 times at midnight, it pulls us inside and whisks us into a fairy tale, usually. The mirror doesn't always let us in, but if it starts to hiss and then turns purple and swirls, off to fairyland we go. Me and Jonah and our cute little brown and white dog Prince. Nana has no idea. No grown-ups know about the magic mirror. But it's thanks to Nana that I'm so familiar with the fairy tales we end up in. And knowing all the fairy tales can come really handy, especially when Jonah and I are trying to figure out what's supposed to happen next in the story. And that's true. If you're trying to fix a fairy tale, being in a fairy tale can be pretty tricky because you want to save the princess or Little Red Riding Hood or whomever. And just your being in this fairy tale changes the story. So now that you're there, how do you use your wits to make sure the fairy tale still has a happy ending? Those are things that Abby and Jonah have to do. Now, I liked this one a lot. It's the Red Riding Hood, as you can tell. But there are 14 books in the series, and we own them all here at the Macedon Public Library. And so you've got The Princess and the Pea, and Hansel and Gretel, Aladdin, the Frog Prince story. So all of those, and they're really a lot of fun. And it's fun it's kind of a little mystery to see how she's going to fix things and hope things don't get messed up too bad. So these are fun stories with a little bit of scary in them. A next story I want to talk to you about is a Bruce Colville book called Goblins in the Castle. I love Bruce Colville. He is from the area. He actually is from Syracuse. He lived and grew up in Syracuse. He's a very interesting man. Before he became a writer, he was a toy maker, a grave digger, a salesman, and then a teacher to 2nd and 4th grade kids. So he would have been a lot of fun, don't you think, to have? Well, you have to read his books, but what an interesting teacher that would have been. Goblins in the Castle is about William, who's an orphan, and he is taken in by the Baron, and he lives in Toad in the Cage Castle. And he just loves roaming around the castle, finding all kinds of interesting rooms and just meeting strange creatures, really, because as he goes through the castle, he eventually meets a teddy bear carrying hunchback named Igor. All scary stories have an Igor, don't they? And Igor lives 500 steps down into the dungeon, and they become friends. And Igor has a bad memory and doesn't remember why he's guarding the castle, but he knows he has to. And at night, William hears a lot of strange sounds, and he always wonders what they are. And the strange sounds are coming from the North Tower. And so he goes at night and tries to get in, but it's very locked up. Whenever he asks questions about it, nobody seems to know why that tower is locked up. but they know it's locked up for a good reason. And one night he finds out. And so this is just the story of William on his journey to meet the Goblin King as he tries to right a century-long wrong and bring peace back to the castle. And well, I don't know too much about goblins. I get them all confused with all the other creepy fairy creatures that are out there, but you'll enjoy reading this. And Bruce Colville, like I said, is from the area. He's written a lot of children's books. I think he really knows how to capture what young people are interested in. And he's written some other books, Into the Land of the Unicorns, My Teacher is an Alien, Jeremy Thatcher, Dragon Hatcher. So there's just a lot of other books. So if you like Goblins in the Castle, you will like all of his books, I am very sure. And the last book that I want to share with you is a new favorite of mine. It is a Newbery Honor book, and it is called Scary Stories for Young Foxes, written by Christian McKay Heidecker. And this book I fell in love with. I've read it more than once already. It has beautiful, beautiful, scary illustrations. I mean, who doesn't like black and white drawings like these? Just very much scary illustrations. And the titles, The Slither Out of the Darkness. Just beautiful. And it is a scary story. It is, there are 8 interconnecting stories. And it's about the journey of 2 young foxes as told to 7 little fox kits by the storyteller in the bog cavern. And the mother of the kits warns them, if you go there, you'll hear a story so frightening, it will put white in your tail. And I will tell you, I was a little scared a couple of times, you know, where you want to go ahead and see what's happening later on, because you want to make sure that your favorite characters are going to come out alive. So I did that a lot. And I made a book trailer that I would like to share with you. So if you give me 1 minute, and I just use the words that are written here in the beginning to describe the story. So if you have a minute here, I would like to share it with you. And let me see how this goes. All right. 7 little foxes in the twisted antler wood, listening to stories much later than they should. The first flees the teacher with dark, gooey eyes. The second from 6 sisters whose tongues tell lies. The third escapes a woman who peels foxes' skins. And the fourth slinks away from the Golga thrush's grin. The fifth wets the ground when he smells Mr. Scratch. And the sixth turns tail when the paw finds its match. The 7th little fox in the wood all alone, facing down a ghost beneath branches of bones. One little fox stays the whole night through. But can she make it through the night? Better yet, can you? So those are the books that I recommend if you want to be a little scared, and I hope you enjoy them as much as I did. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.